Do you like feeling on edge? Do you enjoy in those moments of when you're on a Zoom call or a virtual networking event or even a webinar where they say, hey, drop your details in the chat so we can all catch up later, or drop your details in the chat, want to know more about you. And you're there going, oh God, I have to copy everything. I have to type everything out. Oh my God. Well, let me have an answer for that specific issue. If you're tired of the old cookie cutter marketing advice and want to take your personal brand to the next level with bold, actionable strategies that truly reflect you, you're in the right place. Let's untangle your marketing mayhem with Zoe, the video confidence coach, on the Unboring Your Brand podcast. Unboring Your Brand was recorded on Wadawurrung land. So yes, for that specific issue regarding about giving all your details in a virtual format or in a digital format, as I like to call, I like to have what is called a virtual calling card. So let's scroll our minds back to give you some history, because I love giving some history. So essentially a calling card was used during the essentially Edwardian era, so that's after the Victorian era. Usually in the UK, but it's throughout the world, and this has been a practice that's actually been going on for a very long time. But the name calling card came from when, in the Edwardian era, people would, obviously upper class people, would go to houses, and when they weren't able to talk to the important person of the house or whoever they went to see, and they missed them for whatever reason, because remember, phones didn't exist, the internet didn't exist. So if you missed someone, which happened a lot, you left usually a business card type, card that you were able to leave at the residence or leave with the staff to remind people of who you were. So this calling card usually had very much like what a business card has now, which it has your name, has details on how to contact you, and of course in those days was mainly where to find you, so where your offices were or a postal address if necessary. And it also just had like a bit of a brief summary or a brief almost elevator pitch in one or two sentences that gave people an idea of who you were and what you stood for, and maybe some of the charities you supported, and blah, 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 blah. All that accent type stuff. But you can imagine those type of calling cards, and the reason that it's still ubiquitous in our language, even though we don't really use calling cards as much in our digital age, is because they were useful. And they were useful back then, and I'm going to bring them back now for use in your virtual, both networking, because obviously your girl likes networking, but also just in instances where you have to give people information, usually in a very short time frame, and they just say, oh, just send me a message with your details. Now, a lot of people that I work with kind of just go, or feel like they've been put on the back foot because they have to go, all right, I have to type everything out again. What if I tell you, you don't have to do it again? So what I propose to you is a virtual calling card. So you can use this at networking events, so on Zoom or on webinars or in any place that you're interacting with other people in a business or personal branding capacity, and you're able to provide your details. And essentially what this is, it's usually about a fair chunk of paragraph information. And what it is these following things in a nice paragraph that you can keep in somewhere close by virtually. So for example, I have a lot of clients who use their G Drive, their Google Drive or their OneDrive as their where they keep and store all their information. So when they need to access anything on any of their devices, they can go, boom, I'm into OneDrive, boom, I'm into the file, boom, I'm into the thing, loads up, here's the information, copy, paste, done. That's what works for them. What might work for you might be slightly different. Maybe it might be something to keep in use in maybe your email signatures or somewhere that you can relatively access it easily. For me, I like to use a online wiki called Notion. Essentially, think of it as Wikipedia, but for my own thoughts. And I have a little block that goes across almost all of my pages that have to do with business, where I keep this information handy, my virtual calling card handy. Now, what is in your virtual calling card, may you ask, Zoe? Because you've been going on and on about this. Let's focus, shall we? So what's on it? So first, there is your name, of course. Now, obviously, your full name or whatever name you are using online or a way to people to find you. Say, for example, there's a lot of people that I work with who use more of a stage name, or they use their middle name. Whichever one is the one that people are going to find you on LinkedIn or other places, that's the name that you use. Followed up by your followed up by your business or branding name. So how are people going to find you online? Because the information that you're providing here is not necessarily just links, because sometimes in Zoom calls or webinars, they kind of strip all the links out for making sure that you're not spamming anything reasons. But you provide this so then people can search and research you afterwards. You then follow it up by your elevator pitch. So we can definitely go into a podcast episode, or you can check out the show notes for more details on your elevator pitch. But essentially, an elevator pitch is a 1 to 2 sentence, a bunch of words that tell people who you help and why you help them. So usually this is maybe usually for an elevator pitch, it's like 30 seconds long when you speak it out loud. But in this instance, you probably want something to around about a sentence long that enables you to get a crux to these people who you probably have only either just met or maybe even had a chance to speak to just yet, about who you are and why you do the work that you do. Being able to focus on the type of customer that you work with and having a really clear idea on why you help them is going to be helpful, not just for this instance here, but also just in your marketing in general. Yes, you can serve anyone. You could welcome anyone. Anyone can buy from you, sure. But when it comes to your efforts, you want to be able to focus and also not waste your money. So I digress. Zoe, let's focus. So you have your elevator pitch, usually around about a sentence long for this application. So again, who and why in that one sentence. And also this elevator pitch allows you to show a bit of your personality and a little bit of your pros or maybe some of the words that you use. This sentence is then followed up by your website. So again, a really basic, simple place where people can find out more information about you that you control. A Facebook page and a LinkedIn page, you do not control that. The meta gods or any of those social media platforms could die in an instant, or they could take you down for whatever infraction they feel like. It is rented land. Send them to your website. Even if you're not proud of it, you can work on it in the future. You can make it a priority. And then you would add either a location if that helps. So say, for example, maybe you only work in certain suburbs or areas, or maybe you have either an office space. That is useful to keep in this virtual calling card. This also helps people when they need to, say, physically attend your services, then they know where to go. You then follow up with your email address so that people can email you and contact you. Follow it up by your phone number if that is relevant for you. If you don't want people calling you or texting you, that is okay. Personally, I have my phone number probably everywhere on the internet, but because I have both a personal and a professional phone, I turn my professional phone as soon as it hits 5 p.m. Done, phone off. Do not bother me. So that helps me. But in cases for most of us who maybe only have one phone, might help maybe not to spread your number around if that is not helpful to you at this moment. And the last thing that I want to touch on is providing your best social media platform handle. So what I mean is not go a full list of, Instagram's this, Facebook's this, Pinterest this. Hopefully, and one thing I will stress is hopefully you don't have different names on all different platforms, because that makes it harder for people to find you and keep your branding consistent. And that is a different podcast episode altogether. But for this application, which one is either your best social media platform, as in the one where you spend the most time or you post the most frequently, which social media platform looks the best for you? Or is it the one that has the most followers, if that matters to you? And the reason I put that caveat out there is because followers, when it comes to social media, don't exactly mean what they used to. When in the olden days, 5 years ago, or more, when it came to the amount of followers you had on social media was reflected, the amount of followers you had on social media reflected the amount of reach and engagement that you had. Now, it's all moved to a TikTok algorithm mindset where most people come across someone's content, like maybe one piece of content or two pieces of content, and maybe follow them, but then they never see them again. So your follower is not necessarily any more indicative of your reach as much as it used to be. So, for example, my calling card. So again, this is just a bunch of words and text that I copy in all of my places, so I can copy and paste this and edit and update this as I see fit. but allows me to have what I need. So you can see an example in the show notes just down below or up to the side, depending on where we are. And you'll see that my virtual calling card is Zoe Wood, video confidence coach, emboldens women and non-binary superstars with killer video marketing strategies, empowering them to show up, stand out, and smash their goals. I like to, in my personal view, I like to use the long, I've forgotten what it's technically called, but on your keyboard, it's under the backspace. It labels on like a physical keyboard, on a digital one, who knows. But it's the long line that enables, for me, I find it very useful to be able to separate things, to be able to separate points. So it goes from my name and then it goes into my elevator pitch. So then it enables people to, find me. I didn't use my name in that example at the start because I'm already starting off my elevator pitch with the video confidence coach, and people are going to use that. They're going to be smart enough to figure out that, okay, the brand that she uses is called the video confidence coach. Yes. And then after that, I provide the types of services I provide. So say, for example, I have marketing, coaching, and mentoring, speaking, and marketing direction. My email is g'day@vcc.training. And then my website is vcc.training. And then my mobile is 0430473204. And I like to put the caveat of @video confidence, and then I put in brackets afterwards on all social platforms. So if people find me, they usually find me as the video confidence coach. I have put myself on a lot of platforms. Do I work on all of them? Nope. But I still am usually present on a lot of different platforms. So, as I mentioned before, where would you save this information? Now, this information may seem like a lot when you look at it all in text form, but it is going to save you so much time and energy and effort when you come across these situations, when you start, either when you start or as you already are virtually networking in these spaces, to take this opportunity just to have the information there. Even if you don't have a reason or a use for it now, you will definitely find reasons in the future. So say, for example, you can keep it in your second brain. So for me, I like to keep it in my Notion, but you may have an Evernote or a Todoist or a Task or whatever platform you're using. That is a good place to keep it. You can also keep it in a document or a Word document that you're always constantly referring to. You can keep it in your diary or a calendar that is maybe a constant event that is always accessible wherever you are in your day's work. Have it be ready there so you can copy and paste it whenever you need it. And if, say, for example, you are still figuring yourself out, still figuring out your brand, or things are changing for you, feel free to update yourself, update this virtual calling card about 1 to every 2 months. I don't recommend doing it any more consistently than that, mainly just because it's a long burn of a marketing endeavor. And consistency works better long term than just changing yourself around every couple of months. So what you can also do is utilize any feedback or any questions that people have for you. So say, for example, you use this virtual calling card in, say, an email that someone wants to say, hey, can you send me your details? And you go, okay, open, copy, paste, send the email out. And then say, for example, they ask a question and you thought, oh, I thought I answered this in the virtual calling card, but maybe I don't. Okay, I'll update my virtual calling card to make sure that I cover that answer either in my elevator pitch or maybe in my services or in maybe even in the direction area, whatever it is, because sometimes we need to spell things out for people and that's okay. But don't update your virtual calling card every single time you get certain feedback, because most of the time people are just, hey, you've sent me your details. Awesome, happy. That's what's happening. And I'm going to tell you now that I have received a lot of leads this way, that I have appeared in a virtual networking event, I've appeared in a webinar, or I have just been present, helping or supporting people, or just, being there wanting to learn for myself. I provided those details in the chat and I don't think about it. It's just there. And then a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year later, I have people coming back to me going, hey Zoe, I met you at this, I don't think you'll remember me, but I met you at this event. And I go through my list, I go through my notes and I go, oh yes, we did meet. It's great to see you. And then they either ask me a question or they prompt and say, hey, I want to work with you, or I've been thinking about working with you for a long time. And that is what it takes when it comes to networking your brand or your business. You need to be there. You need to be present. You need to be consistent. And I'm not saying that you need to be everywhere at once, because that is exhausting. Be where your audience is. Be where your customers are. That's where you should put your focus. Get the leads, get the money first, then worrying about doing fancy things later. Thank you so much for listening to this episode on virtual calling cards. And of course, I did not completely come up with this myself. This is just something that I've used from many, many years of both virtual and other areas where it's just useful to have this information on hand. This is just from my own personal experience. If you call this something else, please let me know either in a DM or in comments or throughout the World Wide Web, or you can even email me at g'day@vcc.training, where I'd be interested to know what you would call this or anything that you would like to add to your virtual calling card, or what I should add to the list to make sure that I help people out. Make sure that if you've enjoyed today's podcast episode, that you rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts, because we would love to get the message out there and get more people unboring their brand. Thank you for listening or watching Unboring Your Brand. You can find detailed show notes with tools, offers, and episode transcriptions. Just click the first link in the description or go to vcc.training/podcast. Get involved and ask me anything about personal branding, video strategy, or just a friendly small business chat via my email, g'day@vcc.training. That is gday@vcc.training. The Video Confidence Coach would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which I record my podcast. I pay my respects to their elders past and present. I stand with the traditional custodians of these lands in working towards a more equal future. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Look forward to me chatting at you next week, superstars.